Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. We fought for this one. The three winners tonight for TPC Craig James Week are myself, which is Soly, and my guy TC. You know he wasn't going to miss this week. Hello, TC.
We're just here to honor Byron Nelson, baby.
I hope that's not the way. I hope that's not considered an honor of Byron Nelson. But Neil Schuster here as well. Hello, Mr. Neil.
Listen, shout out to sales reps everywhere. I always get a kick out of that. The salesman's. What is it? The Salesman Foundation?
Salesmanship
Club.
The Salesmanship Club. I love that. That's good stuff, man. Takes me back to my roots. Good to be here, gentlemen. You know I wouldn't miss the CJ Cup, the Bibigo. I had some dumplings tonight, too, in honor of Bibigo. How about that? They were Trader Joe's dumplings, but
they do make you hungry watching this one.
They have good commercials. I like them. You know, Sal, we're 30 seconds in. You knew I was going to go straight to the sponsor stuff for you.
All sorts of dumplings plastered behind that 7th tee.
God, they are using those billboards out in the lakes. I mean, they want to get that brand out there.
Well, shout out to our friends at Titleist that now get second billing on this show. But before we get into the play-by-play, we got to run through a couple numbers from the week. 116. That's how many players teed up a Titleist golf ball at the CJ Cup. That's 74% of the field who played a Pro V1 or Pro V1X, including the champion. Guys, a lot of birdies were made with Pro V1s and Pro V1Xs this past week. 63 players gamed Titleist drivers. 51 had Titleist iron sets in play. 273 of the gap, sand, and lob wedges in play, including the 3 that went into the winner's circle were Vokey design. As Titleist continues to be the most played driver, iron, and wedge on the PGA Tour. Earlier this week at the PGA Professional Championship, Titleist was the top choice of competitors in every major equipment category, with more of the PPC's 20 qualifiers using Titleist golf balls, drivers, irons, wedges, and putters than any other brand. Go get fit, people. They're going to get you in the right stuff. They're going to get you in great stuff. You're going to have a great time. Hopefully you get a chance to get around the world and play a little golf, which I believe the 3 of us all managed to do over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, just those numbers are kind of staggering. The wedge one specifically. It's just a lot of Bob Vokeys being gamed out there.
A lot in the winner's circle too. Yeah, I don't want to listen. Just a lot in the winner's circle.
That's exactly right. It's interesting. That's all I'm going to say. It's just interesting, TC.
Let's start with you guys. What have you guys been up to over the past couple of weeks?
Oh, God. TC got me in on one of his boondoggles. TC, why don't you give him the itinerary? He knew he took me with him because he knew I'd get pissed if he went to New Zealand on short notice. So he's like, he corrupted me. He took me with him.
No. Yeah, we went down. I called Neil's lovely wife, Carson, to kind of front.
Yeah, he front-run me too, which was actually a sick
move.
I kind of said, hey, like, I'm not asking. I'm telling you, and I'm not doing it as a colleague. I'm doing it as a brother. Neil's coming to New Zealand in a few weeks, and this is a really good trip. So we ended up flying down to Auckland and drove up to Taraiti and played there. Well, we played 6 or 7 rounds there, and then we played a couple rounds apiece at the TRI North and South courses. So I think we played about 171 holes.
It was 18. 18 on in California first, then 18.
Oh, yeah, we played Cal Club all the way out too.
36, 27, 36, 18, I believe was the rundown. So, and I got to shout out TC. He beat my ass, man. He's
playing some golf.
Putting well. God, he had just like a telepathic relationship with his caddy, a New Zealand sportsman. This guy he was a cricket player, he was a squash player, and he was just a stick. And
he's a pro golfer. He turned pro at 34.
Vibing, their faces off in the wind and rain. It was great.
I'm so happy that this is getting out and mentioned on the pod first. In light of Strapped, the new Strapped airing this past week, straight into 6 or 7 rounds at Terry.
Listen,
Nick Arito. That makes me so happy.
I take an invite. You know that. I'm the world's guest if you want me to be. So TC, yeah, he got me in. C-suite, we're healing, Soly. The C-suite and the Strap boys it was a bit of maybe a labor meeting, off-season meetings for the Strap stuff. We'll talk about Strap later. I do have 3 things though, TC, if you'll indulge me.
Please.
And first off, we're going to do a wider pod about the trip. But it really wasn't a content trip. It was a vacation. And I know I can almost feel the eye rolls like, you guys, you travel around and film, but not having to film. This is the first time I've gone on a golf trip in 3 years, I think, without filming. since I took my buddies to Sweetens Cove like in 2022 or 2021. You know what I mean? So
It's very different.
it is, and I really like.
Nobody wants to hear that.
No, I
hear
know,
you.
and I
hear you
it's
in the
almost,
car upset. I do, but I will defend
and
you.
I wouldn't have it any other way. But it's just a different feeling, and I really, I just want to call that out, that I really enjoyed it. So I just want to say gratitude, to my brother for getting me involved. Shout out to our host Ian for inviting us down. And so three things, maybe four, but let's start with three. So is it worth the trip? I was kind of like questioning, like, man, it's a long way to go. I got a young kid. We're going for 6-7 days. You skip a day, then you repeat a day when you come back. I know it sounds obvious, but it was definitely worth the trip. And that's coming from a guy who was in row 45E, middle seat in the back of the bus on the way home. And I was like, this doesn't matter. It was sick. Like it was worth it. 14 hours to Houston. I don't give a shit. This will be over soon. And then having the TRI, the north and the south course, like I think it's worth it even just to go to Tara-Edie. So if people are curious, like, is that place worth it? I would say definitively it is. And I'll, kind of list one or two reasons why in a second. But having those two other courses, honestly, to compare Tara-Edie to TRI North, which I did not like as much or even close to as much as the original. But that was a fun comparison of like almost like Doak 15 years ago versus, now or recently. And then Collin Crenshaw, man, for me, they don't miss much. And that South course is really, really good. And so having three courses really made it feel like it was worth the trip. Two, TC, I want to shout out, I love playing fescue greens. The only other time, I think we played them at Cow Club, but I rarely play on fescue. And my one lasting memory of fescue was the old Mac greens from long ago. And I never really liked them. And that was kind of like, fescue greens stink. I totally changed my mind. I didn't putt well at all, but I just love when they look really shaggy and then they roll so true. It's like a pool table, and how firm they can get them, and how it's just like, it gives that vibe that the whole course is the same grass, and it just feels, I don't know, it just feels old school. And I really like that. And the third thing I want to shout out is the Tara-Edie's caddy program. Caddies are like an accelerant, right? Like it can make a round magical, a good round magical, but it can also take a good round and really kind of pour some cold water on it. And not all places have good caddies. And I feel that way, especially up in the Northeast. And I just want to give them a shout out on the other side of the world, a very far away place. They had caddies from all over the world. And these guys were energetic. They were talented. They were dedicated. They were like golfers. And I just, they really improved my experience. So, my guys I had Alex, Sandy, and Willie, and I just want to call those guys out. But Tron, I mean, you're everybody in my group, all of them, Ewan, Katie, Brady, Henry from Michigan, Soly from University of Michigan. He was one of the caddies with our group. And so, I shout that out. It made me even more excited about our Evans scholarship. So I'm going to shoehorn that in because I was like, man, the world needs more good caddies. And when you see good ones and you get good ones in action, you just like want to, I want to work with more good caddies. So those are my three things. TC, what else you got?
Yeah, I would say, I think to piggyback on what you said about it's worth the trip, I think it's worth the trip even if you don't play Tara-Edie. I think it's worth the trip to go down and play TRI North and South. And then I really want to play, there's a little kind of muni down the street that, I mean, like, I'm kind of embarrassed. I've been to New Zealand twice, and I've just been up to this, kind of 5-mile little radius twice, and I haven't really, explored New Zealand proper and gone to Titirangi and Paraparaumu and Waverly and all these cool places. So that's on the list. And I love the Kiwis. I love, like, we were hanging with some Aussie friends down there as well, that we were watching some Aussie rules football, and man, I love it down there in the Southern Hemisphere. But yeah, I think Tara-Edie, I think it's like tied with Sandhills for best modern golf course in the world, in my opinion. And it's truly Doak's masterpiece, and it's just, and it's cool in the shoulder season too. We got a lot of conditions.
Quickly.
Both good and bad. We got really lucky with the weather overall. It was windy the whole time, coming right off the ocean, and so it was definitely like proper challenging golf. But this late in the season, the greens were like, Brian Palmer and his team had the greens still absolutely firing. I was blown away at the TRI South course, the Collin Crenshaw. I played it 2 years ago when it had just opened, and it was just to see the progression in 2 years of how much it's grown in, and all the tie-ins and the native and the framing and everything was amazing to see. And I think, Neil, that'll that'll probably,
I think the North course will
you
grow
know,
into,
yield
but
some
I thought the
improvement
South
with the
course
North.
was spectacular.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. That's worth seeing as well. But to your point about Doak, like, you know, I've been critical of Tom Doak. His courses I find very difficult. This one, for me, one of my favorites from Tom Doak is Ballyneal, and I thought this was like similar to that but better, and a lot of just really fun half par holes, not only short fours but like long fours. I mean, you know, holes number 4, number 7, number 13, number 14 come to mind as those holes, and then the ability to mix up tees, definitely a match play course, but you mix up tees and it changes the hole dramatically. It just doesn't get boring, and then you mix in the variables, the wind changing all the time, rain rolling in. It's just like my kind of golf experience of like, you don't really know what you get when you wake up, but you know you're just going to be out there all day, and everybody's down for that. You know, the caddies are down, like, yeah, man, just throw on the waterproofs. We're charging. It's great.
Shout out to FootJoy.
Yeah.
Shout out to, I mean, just a great trip, playing a shitload of golf and competing, and Soly, you'll be happy to know I put the mini driver in play.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
280. You know, that was really useful. And I almost aced the 7th hole. We're playing a little 2-man scramble.
The Brotherhood listserv was talking about that.
And I hit it to like 3 inches, like hard wind hard off the left. It was crazy. Made 3 eagles. I'm up to 6 eagles on the year.
Yeah, TC was golfing it, and that number 7, that hole, like I finally made par in our last round. Otherwise, I was just up by the clubhouse, just getting blown off the planet trying to hit that green.
He hit it to the same spot up by the clubhouse.
I hit it within 5 yards of my divot twice, like up by 9 green, like way up over the dune. So Icarito the big right miss lives on.
Soly, how was your trip?
Yeah, we just got back last night. I just got back last night from Northern Ireland. I was there with Big Randy, DJ Pie, and Mr. Ben Ho-Tailing. Met up with our guy Patty over there, and our guy KJ was out filming it. This was a filming trip. This was there will be content from that. Well, there will be a full debrief pod from this as well, of course, ahead of the Open Championship this year, which is heading up back to Royal Portrush. We got off the plane, played Royal County down, did a little tour of Belfast, went up to checked out Hollywood Golf Club. They're just outside of Belfast, of course, the home of one Roderick McIlroy. Then made our way and played Royal Portrush. Had just ridiculously good weather for the entire trip. Like, honestly, like some of the luckiest
pictures I saw.
Unbelievable.
I got off this flight from New Zealand. I was like, man, I felt so much FOMO. I was like, that looks so sick.
It was
the Irish
amazing.
dunes are hard to beat, man. They're so cool. Like that one of you guys walking up with that dune in the background. Where was that?
That's Royal Portrush. That's the 7th hole at Portrush.
That was so sick.
Yeah, and then we went and played 9 holes at the band course over at Castle Rock, which is like their little like short course, and it was the Kilmore 9 from Karn. Like, it was awesome. It was so much fun. And so didn't play nearly as much golf as you guys played. It was a lot more running around filming and all that stuff. But man, it was a tank filling trip, and we just had such a. We did a lot of stuff outside of just the golf and learned a heck of a lot about Belfast and the country's history and things like that. And I'm kind of embarrassed. This is the 3rd time I've been in Northern Ireland. The first time, like, I've really like taken that on in terms of, reading and trying to understand kind of the complicated history of it, which, listen, we're not going to solve that, but either on this pod or in the video project. But I just had an entirely different kind of perspective leaving yesterday, and I'm jet lagged. I hope I make it through tonight's pod, but man, there's some special golf. We do have a fun one. We got some fun.
We're going to talk a little bit about TPC, Craig T. Nelson or Craig James, but overall, we're going to, we got some fun stuff dialed up. Soly, I haven't listened yet, but the Seamsters podcast with Patty.
Yeah, we did. It was my idea of our friend Patty, who's he lives over there in Belfast. Not an American baseball, not a baseball fan, I should say. And we had him on the Seamsters Union pod to just pick his brain on some stuff. He nailed several. I knew he was going to do this. Like, you just put him on the spot and just be like, what are your thoughts on this? And he just pulls it out of his ass, and he nailed several of them. We had a good time talking baseball and doing a lot of stuff with him. But gosh, it was great trip. Great to see. I ran into several people I'd met in Northern Ireland like 8 years ago. Coffee shop owners and just people that we'd come across, and it's just. Life is just going on there as scheduled and as planned. And oh my God, Royal County Down just absolutely slaps in the sunlight. I'd never seen it in light like that. And we were just absolutely buzzing coming off the plane. So stay tuned for that. A lot of that content. It's coming, and It's like, I don't know. I don't, it never rolls off the tongue as somebody's top desire of a place to go. Like nobody's ever like, I got to get over to Scotland. I really want to play Ireland. Like, and you can do Northern Ireland and Ireland in the same trip in terms of a lot of the golf courses, but it is like, I've played Port Stewart. We toured the Castle Rock course. I never made Ardglass, but there is just an entire Northern Ireland golf trip you could have, and it's a really, really special place, and just the mountains and the setting and everything up there. I can't say enough great things about it.
So if you had 10 rounds between Portrush,
I'm saving that for the pod and the video because that was hotly contested, and my answer would be very unpopular. It would be extremely unpopular, but the courses are hard. Both of those courses are hard, which was a big takeaway for me from this trip. Again, I played them 8 years ago, but I've seen so much other stuff since, and like going back, a lot of Scottish links courses and even a lot of Irish links courses around the greens is not severely punishing. And both of these courses, it is. Like there are just massive mounds around some of these greens. Think of like 8th green at Pack Dunes, just about like the way that one sits and think of the 2nd green at Pack Dunes, how severe that green side is. That's like what Royal County Down is like. And when the crosswinds are blowing 30 miles an hour, like our caddy was just like working with us on just hit the front of greens, hit the front of greens, hit the front of greens. Not because you don't want to be above the hole. It's because if you get pin high and you're offline, you can play ping pong on so many of those greens, and it's hard. Like it's a hard style of golf, and a little tough for somebody that was a little bit rusty. But it's got me that much more jacked up. The video is going to get everybody jacked up for Royal Portrush, and it was a smash hit the last time that they played there as well, and it's gonna slap again this time around.
How'd the big guy play?
Pretty good. I mean, pretty good. We had some good matches. He's launching it up a lot higher. He had we all struggled at Portrush. Everyone played pretty well at County Down. We got really benign conditions at County Down, and the wind blew a little bit at Portrush. Not a lot, but just a little bit, and it blew everybody's score up by 5, 6, 7 shots from County Down because. Yeah, we weren't quite ready to hit those hold up fades off the right to left wind and flight it down and hit all the shots you got to hit on that style. But it's just the most fun style of golf, and I hadn't got to do that in a little while, and it was a great treat. So, as much of a joy as that is it time to get into?
Woe is us. I'm sure people are like, God, get these. What's the meme of the guy taking his headphones off? Get this out of my
fucking talking about their own golf. Like we got to reprioritize stuff a little bit for this week's tournament for all of the pro golf.
It was a good week to be out of pocket.
Exactly.
I mean, I think the story of the week. I mean, I don't think Scotty's a killer. Finishing bogey par to tie the scoring record. I mean, does he have a killer instinct? I mean, what say you guys?
Well, I would just venture to like did his what was higher, his highest round of golf this week, or like his resting heart rate throughout the course of the entire week? Like that'd be very curious to know.
He did not look stressed out.
Either one of those two
5
things.
on the card until midway through the 3rd round.
And this is a great time to tell everyone that this podcast is brought to you by Whoop. And we've been wearing Whoop for a few years now. And if you're not familiar, it's a fitness wearable that's going to give you data like your resting heart rate and your active heart rate while you're out doing stressful activities. You see them on the wrists or the biceps on a lot of your favorite pro golfers. Listen, we are not pro. I got to charge mine as I go to say this. I think I fell below 5%. I got a really good streak.
But the battery lasts like 5-6 days.
It lasts too long.
Things about Whoop.
I forget to charge it.
You don't have to worry about charging it more than once a week.
But I use Whoop a lot to help us hit health goals, whether it's sleep, recovery, or fitness related. It really is just something that gives me clear data. It stops me from scrolling my phone in bed late at night because it measures when I go to sleep, and I want to see a nice number on that when I check it the next morning because it quantifies it for you, and it stares you right in the face, and it makes you make better decisions. So head to join.whoop.com/NLU to get started with Whoop on a free 1-month trial that includes the hardware and a completely unlocked app experience. If you don't love it, you can send it back. No questions asked. And if you already have a Whoop, you can join our Whoop group with code COMM. That's COMM-NLU. Again, join.whoop.com/NLU to get started with Whoop with a free 1-month trial. Scottie Scheffler won by. I honestly lost track. I couldn't have been less stressed in like watching the golf today because the result was so far out of question. But ends up winning by 8 after kind of struggling down the stretch there, as Neil mentioned. Stumbled to a final round 63 to just eke out Eric Van Rooyen, who finished in second place. He birdied 7 of the first, he shot 30 on the front with a bogey, which was 6 under par. He shot 30 or better 3 times on the front 9 this week, while making 2 bogeys in those rounds. I think his best ball, I looked up, his best ball was only 26 because he eagled the 9th, but he eagled the 9th hole twice. He had 2 eagles, but he eagled the same hole twice. So, but he did birdie every other hole on the front 9 as well. Birdied 11, birdied 14, birdied 15, bogeyed 17 with an embarrassing chip, and then didn't birdie the 18th hole.
You got to wonder if history got to him, having that scoring record, if he was thinking about it.
Tough. He had an eagle on 18 at one point this week. He also had three eagles this week. Welcome to the club, Scotty.
Tough week for Phil, of course, who predicted that Scotty would not have a win this year before the Ryder Cup.
To be fair to Phil, does this count? This is like
this
going
is the only
back
one.
to your hometown.
Phil might have an argument.
And getting a slump buster. This is borderline. This is the second weakest full field, non-opposite field event of the year, behind Mexico at Vidanta World so far.
What is it from official world golf ranking standpoint?
Yeah. Just not a very good golf tournament. Like, I don't think that this tournament should exist anymore. I think it's like,
well, I guess the question then, TC, is like, should there be a tournament every week, or should there be off weeks during the season? Because that's kind of what you're saying. Like, this should be just an off week, or should it be something else? Like, what do you do then? Like, you move is it your issue with the tournament itself, or is it with the course and the venue, allowing these guys to go? It seems
like it's been rudderless for years now. Like, I like Trinity Forest as a golf course. I don't think it's a great pro golf course, certainly not in, early May, and they're going to get a bunch of, like, it's never a good week to have a golf tournament in Dallas, first of all, right? It's this
Whoa, unpack that. What do you mean? That's a big market.
It's always Drench City, USA down there in like late April, early May. It's just
not enough wind really in this time period.
Yeah.
Like, we do this every time. It's like fall would be the best, but you would never do that during football season.
I just feel like there's just not a viable course to have it at. Like, Trinity, obviously the pros hated it. It wasn't good for spectators because there's no shade out there. This place, by all accounts, everybody hates it. It's way out of town. The pros hate it. The caddies hate it. By all accounts, the tour people don't like it. TV people hate it. I mean, like, they had the B squad on the telecast. Yeah, it's just like and like, even the last few years at Las Colinas, it wasn't a good tournament. And so either build a better golf course, or it's like shit or get off the pot. You've got a great tournament over at Colonial, and there's 4 other tournaments in Texas?
There are a lot of tournaments in Texas, so I hear that argument. But I guess just to get back to what I asked you is, like, do you think that if they moved it to a different market, you think that's the answer? Like, I'm trying to understand if it's just because of where it falls on the schedule, is it always just going to be a really tough one? Because it's going to be before a signature event. Everybody's catching their breath from,
You probably don't want to have it any later, because
this is where I net out on, like, dude, I'm totally fine having these dip weeks. Not every week,
I am too, but this course is just so unbecoming.
But that makes it easier for it to just
challenging.
dip. It's terrible. Like, it's more of an exhibition than it is a golf tournament. I would say that. Like, do I think this should?
I don't think it should get world ranking points.
Should have had the same amount of FedEx Cup points as Waste Management? Yeah, I know. I don't think so. Like, I really think that those are on 2 different levels. But the tour's got a tiering problem as it is. This is the lower tier of the lower tier, and it just kind of nod along and watch the end of it on Sundays. And this is a week that everybody's locking in for. I don't know if everybody's locking in for the Truist this week, but it's a signature event. You're more likely to lock in for that, and then you go right into a major. Once we get in between the majors on a lot of these tournaments, it just gets very easy to maybe, check in on Sunday to see what happens at the very end, but otherwise just not a great tournament to watch.
They're going to redo it, and I don't know if it's going to be any better. Right?
I would be stunned if it was. Yeah. I'd be amazed. It's got no soul.
Pop on TV.
And it just, I think if anything, maybe you got to respect Scotty more because he won on a course that, like,
it's hard to separate.
Doesn't differentiate.
It's a good point.
And so, to win by 8, and it seems like the kind of course that like rewards a lot of the wrong stuff. And so to win by 8 and even, and still beat a lot of these imposters is
Well,
cool.
I mean,
Soly, you were getting pretty hyped up about Spieth today with the 62. Feels a little bit like pooped in the potty.
No, just to fit
I'm
my
on the
narrative.
Spieth train with you.
The golf doesn't matter at all, almost in this week, but this fits my narrative, so I'm going to ride this one out, TC. This was massive week for Spieth, and all the haters can suck it.
A total shoe-in for the Ryder Cup team. This proves it right.
Who said that? Why did you say that, Neil? Well, who claimed
you
that?
said that? You said that a month ago when we
did I say that, Neil? Neil, did I say that?
I would be happy to go check the tape. You said.
Do you want to check the tape? Do you want to put I'll put a wager on it. You got to wear one of the dumbass hats that we're going to talk about.
What did you say?
Okay. You've already backed off of it.
But I think you said Spieth is going to be on the Ryder Cup team. I think Spieth is going to be on the Ryder Cup team. I believe you said that.
Do you want? I'll bet. I'll do a big lettered hat bet.
Well, you're going to try to take a direct quote. I think the spirit of the quote is that.
I've got one right here.
TC, if we're down to do the spirit of the quote, I would be happy to take that bet because I know what you said, and we were all KVV. Or I don't know what I said on the call.
He wants to put a bunch of qualifiers on it, just like he jumped down on.
I think we know the spirit of like you were like, yeah, of course Spieth's going to be on the Ryder Cup. Like you were like aghast that we were like, what are you talking about?
Sitting here, he's more likely than not to be on the team. He has a greater than 50% chance.
I
don't know if that was the vibe. If it was just, I think it was a lot more like Spieth's on the team. Like you went down your list and it was like, yes, Spieth. And it was like, what? And you're like, yeah, more likely than not. Sure. I still think that's a bit egregious, but I think my point still stands. But sure, you didn't say what
the category was called odds on, but not locks. And I put JT, Bryson, Brooks, Cantlay, and Spieth in that category.
Odds on.
Odds on.
I don't think Spieth is odds on.
That's greater than 50% would be odds on.
I don't right now. I don't think that's the case.
I don't think that's improved since you said that. Have you seen the bottom of the guys trying to qualify for this team? That was the whole point. It's
Come on, JJ is going to respawn, baby. We got all kinds of horses coming up the leaderboard.
Do you think Keegan's picking JJ respawn over Jordan Spieth? Was the point?
Hopefully it doesn't matter.
But I don't think that he is as likely. I guess my point is I don't think he's as likely to be on the team as you do. But anyway, we can move on. We don't have to relitigate it. But I feel like that was, I don't want to skip over that might not age well. Let me put it that way.
And again, my point is that all he has to do is show a sign of life, and he's probably going to get a captain's pick, and he's going to get the benefit of the doubt in a lot of different ways. Speaking of the benefit of the doubt, he got a sponsor exemption next week as well. So he's been injured.
He already had that sponsor exemption the next week.
Correct.
Before this week. So
yeah.
So a guy that's begging for sponsor exemptions into Siggy events, we think he's odds on to get on the Ryder Cup team.
Come on, let's be fair. Why do you think he has to beg?
I understand the point, but I think
why do you think he has to beg? Was he injured last year, Neil? Yes.
He was, of course.
Surgery? Yes.
No, listen, I love Jordy. This is not me saying I hate Jordy. It's just me saying like, yeah, he's just not playing that good compared to other people. But I understand the politics. I understand what you're saying. You listen. We'll just watch what happens. I don't want to get us all bogged down here.
Soly,
we're somewhat joking about like, just does this win mean anything for Scotty? I think it means something. And he hadn't won this year after all the dominance last year. He went by fucking 8. Like he not odds on
afterwards. Hometown event. It meant something to him.
He was not odds on.
I think that's awesome. Good for him. Seriously.
I think
this is awesome.
This makes me think about him for the upcoming stretch a little differently. I don't know if it does for you guys.
We, of all people, talk about dubs. The year of getting dubs. Sometimes you just need little dubs. Little wins are important. Hey, it's hard to. You heard JT talking about at Heritage, how hard it is to close the door, how hard it is to win. He made this look so easy that that's almost something similar. Of like, you know what? Yeah, I am the alpha. Like I am. Like I just ran away, and just ran away from the field. That's got to give him some confidence.
Meanwhile, Rory's doing his media car wash up in New York.
Has Rory lost his edge? Why is he not at the Byron getting after it with these guys? There wasn't anyone on the planet that was going to beat Scotty. They could have had the entire tour there. You throw the LIV guys in there too. Nobody was going to beat that guy this week. He gained 23 shots on the field.
This actually would have been a pretty interesting course for Bryson.
Oh, for sure.
He's he's sticking with that claw grip, which I'm not breaking any news there, but I kind of thought when that came out in the Bahamas last November, December, I was like, man, that's interesting. But he seems to like it. I haven't looked up his putting stats, but I was thinking about it.
Sixth, gained over 6 shots on the greens this week.
You know, but in my head, I'm like, I haven't looked at the stats, but he hasn't won yet this year. Is that, you know, should I be looking at that? But obviously, you know, the data says otherwise.
Well, the ball striking has just been okay. Like, it's just not been Scotty level. This week, he gained almost 13 shots approaching the green. Next best gained 8. Like, the gap between him and the second place guy is like the gap between the second place guy and the 30th place. Like, it just was a completely absurd approach week. And he was 3rd off the tee and 6th in putting. Like, it just like one of the most lethal combinations you come up with. He had the best round of the day in round 1, the best round of the day in round 2, the 4th best round of the day on day 3, and 2nd best today. Like, he almost won each day. I don't think, has anybody ever done, I don't think that's ever, there's no way that's ever happened on tour, is there?
Maybe the cat.
I'll have to get Jay Ray on that one. Like, that would be the we need to come up with a name for that one. But yeah, I don't know. It's freaking dominant. It was good to see. It's good to just get a little tap in. You know,
and for the record, I just want to go. I'm really happy that Spieth shot 62. That's fun. That's fun, Chris. You know, we like that.
It is.
That's fun.
We love that.
I'm not hating. Sam Burns also. So some of the cream was rising to the top, even on a course like TCU said that, you know, let's
Takumi Kanaya was T5. I know.
Yeah, I'll flip right back around. Takumi Kanaya finishing T5. This is a dumbass course. None of this golf means anything. All right, this is stupid. Yeah.
Cam Champ T15. Ross Steelman, I think I don't know if he Mondayed in or he got a sponsor exemption, but he's a Korn Ferry guy, Georgia Tech guy, T25. Chris Goddard. Like, I like it when younger guys have a shot at you know, playing well and stacking up some points. My big issue is, like, this is supposed to be a good tournament, right? This is supposed to be like, it's you know, the Byron Nelson was always a bigger tournament when we were growing up, and now it's just a shell of itself, and it's an uninteresting shell of itself.
Yeah, so. The aerial, they need to get the drone or blimp or whatever. They need to get it off the golf course.
Yeah, stop shooting it from
not
above.
help.
That's not helping.
Really does not help.
Just unbecoming.
The neighborhood, everything. Yeah, it does not seem like a great honor for Byron Nelson. But
well, we skipped over him, but Eric Van Rooyen, I would give him a big shout out for keeping pace with Scotty. I mean, 63 in the final round, finishes solo second. Like, that's really good golf. He seems like honestly a great guy, and that's you know, going 23 under, and you know, normally that's gonna win it.
You know, he had 3 eagles this week too.
Yeah, shout out. That's awesome.
I love Eric Van Rooyen. Great dude. He had some quotes afterwards because he got into Truist. You know, like,
yeah,
you know,
next 5, next man up.
And he said, "Yeah, I hate it." He still is very, very against the whole kind of broken up model and all that. Which, again, we can kind of agree to disagree on that one. But so I know we were talking about field strength earlier. Just as of note, if you fast forward, if you don't care about the data behind it, but Data Golf, of course, does a tournament summary for all professional golf tournaments and basically measures them up against each other, basically to say, like, qualifies it by something they call the X score, which is like, it's named after Xander Schauffele is what they did. Score. Yeah. But basically, if you like go out and play like Xander does on average, the probability that somebody would go out and beat you, like somebody in the field would go out and beat you. So, like, the strongest field players championships, 95% chance that, like, somebody's going to beat you if you gain 2 shots on the field every single week. So that's that's how they measure it. This was the 3rd lowest of the PGA Tour events to this date of the full field ones, barely ahead of Cognizant, and a little bit ahead as well of the Mexico Open at Vidanta World, but well behind. It's actually like tied with Valero, Farmers, American Express level, and they got all kinds of other stuff. It's called the tournament summaries page on there. You can look at what the median player was in the field, what the average player was in the field, what the 90th percentile player was in the field. You can also compare it to a bunch of live events, and it'll show you basically having a smaller field, like as strong as the top of the live field is, it is harder to win technically the CJ Cup at Byron Nelson than it is to win any live event, just because of the number of players that get added to the field in these full field events. And the full field events actually keep up with the signature events more than you might think, just because of how many guys are in the field for those weeks.
Why did they pick Xander? Was that a joke that it's named after Xander?
It's like named after perennial +2 skill player Xander Schauffele. X score is the probability that the field beats a 2-stroke gain player in a 72-hole stroke play tournament.
Okay.
The probability that you're going to give it to the field.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, and it gives you great, if you want to see how many players in the field average more than one shot gain, how many average more than 1.5, they break down every tournament of that to give you pretty tangible data on what. Basically, I'm saying all that to, like, don't go to the OWGR website anymore to see the field strength, because the OWGR is so messed up that that's not the best possible way to see how hard it is to win some of these tournaments. So,
Soly, any concerns with, a couple of your boys, Tom Kim, Taylor Pendrith, both missing the cut this week?
listen,
Kim,
it's
this
a golf
is-
course. It doesn't matter. No, the results don't even matter. I mean, you can't separate on this golf course. Yeah,
Well, they still managed to separate themselves out of the
I got the bad side of the draw. That must be it. No, it's honestly very hard to put stock in anything that isn't just like blowing the field away. Like, in truth, am I putting a ton of stock in Spieth finishing in the top 5? I'm not. I think it's good to see a sign of life, but it just is like not a test of professional, not even a decent test of professional golf. So it doesn't really answer any questions. Like, Truist will answer some questions. Like, I don't know. If I'm still not riding high off Spieth going into Quail Hollow. I don't know if anyone is in particular, but Scotty did make me just say, like, okay, like there's the dude right there. I don't care if this course was easy. He lifted and separated at a level that no one else on this planet can do.
Yeah, he answered the question of everybody's playing the same golf course. It's like, well, watch what I do on it.
huge if true. Rico Hoey had it going for a little bit. Good course for him. He's just a predator with the driver, but couldn't string four good rounds together. Soly, any concerns? Zalatoris withdrew pre-tournament.
Yeah, it's not good. He had a tough go at the Masters, and I don't really have any more details behind it.
DC, we should be asking you that. I feel like you've been picking him a bunch lately.
I know. I'm concerned. I haven't heard anything like Soly. I haven't heard anything positive or negative. So hopefully, he's just being cautious. Abundance of caution, but want to see him. Other news this week: Davis Riley got a 2-stroke penalty for inadvertently using the slope feature on his rangefinder. Which, guys, how are the rangefinder companies not giving these guys either melting the rangefinder slope button so it's inoperable, or giving them something where it's disabled? Because it's so easy to inadvertently do that.
Or switch it to meters. Gotta watch that too.
That's not a penalty.
That's not a penalty, but that does
that's
happen.
A career ender. Like, I can never figure out how to undo that.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh boy, I gotta hold it down for how many seconds? I don't know. That can be a tough one.
Career ender. Yeah, tough. That's a very tough penalty. Obviously, called it on himself. And I'm not pro rangefinder. I don't think this is going to change much of anything to begin with, and like just adding this element into things is not ideal. But yeah, everybody should have a rangefinder that does not have a slope feature on it. I get it that they probably have them for practice rounds to be able to measure all that, but let your caddy use all that in the practice round, and then that thing gets left in the hotel. There's no reason to even risk that.
He still made the cut.
And shout out to him for calling it on himself. That's integrity. It's what you do when no one's watching, TC. No one else can see that number coming up in the left-hand corner of the screen.
Guys, I'm just receiving word as well. He had 3 eagles this week. Welcome
How
to
about
Club
that?
Davis.
You're diluting your club, because Craig Ranch is not the same as doing it at Terraiti.
Couple other things, Soly. Collin Morikawa and Joe Griner. How about that?
Did not see that one coming. Collin Morikawa splitting with his longtime caddy, Justin Djokovic. Don't really have any more. I don't believe there's been a ton of details out there. I know he detailed some of it, of how hard the phone call was to make. And I guess that just the opportunity to get Joe on the bag with all the success he's had. It's just interesting. They won 2 majors together, and it's the only caddy he's had as a pro. And it's just, I'm surprised. I was very surprised by this news.
Had a hole in one at the Players.
That's right.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting change.
Justin
I imagine Justin's going to find a job very, very, very quickly. But it's interesting little caddy swap. And Joe's been on a lot of big feature bags here in the last several just months alone. So
You should just keep moonlighting for people. Just have the honeymoon, like just an indefinite honeymoon, and then just kind of hop around. Like, all right, you know what? Like, Tom Kim, you're next, man. I'm gonna fix you.
Anything else from Craig James?
Not really. Look, I'm more looking ahead at Truist. I think it's been drenched city up there as well. They've had some. I think they've been soaking the golf course for some reason, is what I've heard.
The golf course is Philadelphia Cricket Club. For those that don't
Yeah.
know, I've never been there, but I've heard it's been on my. I've gotten rained out of that course 3 times that I've tried to play it, but it's been on my list of a place I really want to get, and I'm very keen for. It seems like a great decision for the tour to go here, and I'm excited to see this golf course on TV. And it's more exciting. I believe it's going to be more exciting than Quail Hollow, even if it has been Drenched City, USA. But
Forecast is tough up here in the Northeast this week.
I think it looks like it's going to be Thursday. Thursday to Sunday is going to be good. It's just, I think it's going to be, it's not a long course to begin with. I think it's like 7,200 yards, par 70. It's pretty tight piece of property as well. So I think they've had to wedge in some hospitality and things of that nature. So I will zip my mouth on grandstanding and backstopping and TIO this week. Cause listen, I applaud, that's just one of the things that comes with going to a smaller footprint course.
I'm so proud of you for this.
With a golf ball that's completely out of whack. Right?
Thank you.
Now we still should, reform TIO relief, but that's we'll leave that aside for now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sponsor exemptions. We've got Rick, Jordan, Gary Woodland, and then one more is to be determined. I'm not sure if they've announced that one yet, but not a great look, I don't think. Giving Rick another one, it's just kind of like, all right, like is this a meritocracy?
I mean, we've done.
No, I know we've done that.
I think we've done this exact conversation with this exact group of people multiple times.
Yeah.
I think it is big time meritocracy. I think these are like some big time marketing passes for some marketable guys that are going to are getting some opportunities. Would be my answer to that. Is it 100% fair? I would not say so, but it's also golf for money, and individual sponsors are going to want some say in who they want to bring to the tournament. And Rick always tends to make a lot of sense for bringing fans out.
Yeah.
It's not much more complicated than that.
And then the Creator Classic. We got another Creator Classic this week, Soly. Is it losing steam? Is my question.
It's a different format, different field.
Very excited for you guys to watch the broadcast and not be on the grounds. let me know what you think. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I think the live duels thing had me thinking a lot more. We've always, for all these events, we've always said, like, why does it have to be live? Why does it have to be live? Like, you can edit it, you can cut out all the riff. And honestly, as soon as I found out live duels was edited, I was like, I'm not going to watch that. Like, it just goes into the YouTube algorithm part. Like, a live event is a different thing. It's a different product. Like, it's a different kind of thing in terms of competition. I don't know what it is, but like, I can't sit and record a baseball game, then go back and watch it once it's over. Like, you watch it live. Like, that's the whole point of sports. And kind of I'm saying all that to say, like, the rebranding of the way Liv did it did not catch my attention, despite having a stronger, like, professional tie into it. And this route that they're going, I'm not even sure I understand the format, but it's a lot different.
Teams of 3 alt shot.
Yeah, that's going to be really hard to string
my
together.
Takeaway from watching the broadcast at the Players, trying to watch you play, Soly, was they need to simplify things, not make the format more complicated. I mean, they already lost track of, a bunch of, we didn't see a lot of golf. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And so I'm concerned. My concern would be goes the way of the match with, we're going to have a new format every week. And then it's just not going to have any, there's no through line. And I think people underestimate how important a through line is with whatever you're doing. I mean, the way we think about our video stuff is like probably less match and more, travel but like if you look at Strap, for instance, there's a through line there. There's a few things that like are, pretty consistent throughout, season to season. And I don't feel like that's happening now with the Creator Classic. And I think a lot of people would, hearing this, will say like, oh, we'll give them time. It's like, well, I don't know if you got a ton of time with this stuff. If you you lose the momentum, it might be a problem.
I don't know if it's a Creator Classic without Gabby Golf Girl
and her dad.
Just come out and say that.
I mean, it's hard. I got to play in the one that was at TPC Sawgrass, but the Sawgrass one to me seemed like a way bigger success than Tour Championship because it was on a golf course that everyone was super familiar with in like great conditions, and playoff on the 17th hole was just like very, very easy to understand. Like, just very simple. There's a leaderboard in the corner and everybody's playing stroke play, and it's quite easy. And it seems to be kind of headed to, like you said, towards the match of like a little bit more complicated, a little less like, I'm not really sure what the question is now. Like, is it, just a hit and giggle fun thing? That's fine.
I know it
But
needs to be simplified. It needs to be like, what would I shoot if I played TPC Sawgrass? That was an easy question. I don't know if
that's
they
where I'm at.
broadcast it very well. What I would say is like, yo, why don't you just run back the same format and just get better at it? Like,
Take a bunch of the top like amateur players that people watch play on YouTube. Everybody wants to know, what would you shoot on this golf course in tournament conditions? Like, what's the talent gap like between you and these top players? Go do it. And that's an interesting question to be answered, whether I got to play in it or not.
And to your point about the live duels, I do think like some type of pro integration with alt shot, for instance, is, you could hook me with that a little bit too, or best ball. I don't know. It just,
You gotta pick a lane, though. You gotta
say again.
you gotta pick a lane. You gotta have a through line.
That's right. And I just think
One
now
through line.
we're grasping the dark, and it's like, it just kind of makes me shake my head a little bit.
Well, I think I have no idea I don't know behind the scenes on this, but I think the complications that came from live duels also just added another wrinkle to it. Like, all of a sudden, they're putting up $250,000 for a lot of these guys that travel around and play at a lot of this stuff, and all of a sudden,
putting up $1 million.
Who could have seen that coming,
Yeah.
guys? I've been saying that. I've been saying we're about to get waterboarded with creator leagues, and here they come, baby. It's coming for us, full steam ahead.
Yeah,
Neil's a creationist.
God, I think I said that to you guys like last October. I was just it's kind of ahead of schedule for me, actually.
So yeah, it's I don't know if they're having trouble recruiting people or what. I did not get invited to this one, for those asking.
Soly, I didn't either. Where's my invite, huh?
I'd love to see.
TC made 3 eagles this week. How did he not get
Yeah,
invited to
TC's
this?
down there making eagles everywhere.
Evidently, so did everybody else, though.
Yeah, it's true. So, all right. What else happened this week, TC?
Yeah, LPGA was kind of a snoozer. It was good, good thing to have up on a second screen with the good views from Black Desert out in Utah. Heiran Yu won by 5. Kind of similar story to.
We got to
Scotty.
commit to Heidan Yu. I don't know
Heidan
why.
Yu.
I don't know why, but that's the pronunciation.
Heidan Yu.
Yeah.
She won by 5, 68-64 on the weekend over Esther Henselite and Ronnie Yin. And then Rio Takeda.
Haeran is pronounced Heidan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm gonna struggle with that.
Fair. I think it's very fair.
That, guys.
You just gotta put a Post-it note up, Neil. Hey, Don.
I do. I need to have might be larger than the Post-it note for me, TC.
When
I'm gonna have a
in
whiteboard
doubt,
in my office.
Go with the Grant Boone pronunciation. That guy, motherfucker, do not miss.
Do you want to shout out Rio Takeda? She shot 65-66, finished solo 5th. I think she's gonna win a major this year. I'm putting the word out there. So
a real one or one of the fake ones? Because that's a whole.
Well, we only have one
so.
fake one left.
Okay.
So we got three.
So you're declaring a real one. Okay, but if she wins the Evian, it does not count.
Charlie Hull, I guess she's officially quit smoking, but it sounds like she's starting to use Zins, Neil. She's just
good. They're a
I don't know if it's Zin, but
deterrent.
she's using a
not using the Velos
nicotine pouch. What else? Yana Wilson won in Vegas. I just on the Epson tour. I thought that was interesting. She's 18 years old. She signed with Oregon. She's supposed to be like a freshman in Oregon this year. Skipped college altogether. She won the Mizuho AJGA event in 2023. The Mizuho is this coming week. Neil, you're going down to that at your home club, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go. I get invited to play in that pro-am. So how about that? I'll be out there Wednesday.
Neil's gonna do his own creator classic.
Yeah, maybe we'll do our own creation out there. But yeah, Liberty's actually a fun place to watch golf. If you're in the New York area, that's a good tournament. You get to see. I like the format. You have the AJGA, the amateur, junior golfers out there playing with a stacked field. It's a good course for the LPGA.
Soly, can I do Live Corner? Can we just keep here? It was Live Korea at the Jack Nicklaus Golf Club out in Incheon, where they had the President's Cup forever ago. I think that was the Jay Haas, Bill Haas President's Cup. Primed for a Blandy Bryson showdown. I thought it was a 1-stroke difference.
What happened to you?
It was late.
As somebody that has twice tweeted watching golf on delay this year, I can understand where you were coming from, but you tweeted out that it was a 2-horse race, but apparently you read the leaderboard wrong.
The heart wants what the heart wants, and I was thinking, oh my God, they were like
so
4 or 5 clear of the field. Bryson had like a 4-shot lead instead of a 1-shot lead over Blandy. I was just looking at the second round scores. And then, yeah, Blandy shot 73 and lost by 11. So,
Huh. That's tough.
Fellow crusher, Charles Howell III gave Bryson a really good run for his money. I think he shot like 63, but Bryson locked in, made 6 birdies on the back, prevailed by 2 shots. As his crushers won by 9 over Smash GC. Kokrak shot 77 in the final round. Certainly didn't help matters for Smash. And it pains me to say this, but the Cleeks and the Ironheads were the only 2 teams over par. I think the Cleeks lost to even Phil's team. What's Phil's team?
High Flyers.
The High Flyers. They were like 6 back of the High Flyers even. Just bleak stuff.
Hate that.
So, in other live news, it seems like there's a, Scott O'Neill, the live CEO, said that, I guess according to Sportico, he said that live golf and the OWGR were in quote serious discussions. Doug Ferguson, I guess, spoke with Trevor Immelman. Immelman said, quote, "That's an interesting choice of words in relation to serious discussions." Immelman continued, "They have not put any application in. Whether that happens or not, I guess time will tell," he said in a
Allow me
telephone
to
interview with the AP.
contradict him.
He said, I've enjoyed getting to know Scott O'Neill over the last few months. We've spoken on the phone a couple of times. We met in person at the Masters, just really introduction stuff. We're in the same position we have been without any application from their side.
Honestly, good for Trevor. Like, yo, man, that's just not true. You know, that don't
in a very nice way.
We met. I don't think that's what I would call that, but yeah, we have met, and it was a nice discussion.
We met Scott O'Neill at the Masters, and like he was just telling everyone that he had a meeting with Trevor Immelman, to get the rumor out there about OWGR and
put the word out.
Yeah, he did. He was trying to put the word out under the tree for sure.
In other news, ratings were not good for last week's head-to-head showdown between Zurich and Chapultepec.
There's no way.
Josh Carpenter of Sports Business Journal reported FS1 averaged 110,000 viewers for Sunday's final round of LIV Golf Mexico City. Saturday coverage got 84,000 viewers, and then Friday on FS2 got 30,000 viewers. Final round of the Zurich Classic, just delayed by a weather and a power outage. I missed all of this.
It was sick.
New Zealand averaged 1.63 million viewers from 3 to 740. Only down 12% from last year when Rory and Shane Lowry won. So coverage from then until the finish averaged 2.3 million, which would have been a 10-year high for the final round.
Like that, they're literally they had to play the 2024 replay version during the power outage. Then they got a weather delay. It was true.
That sucks because that was when Zach and Fishburne just melted. Right?
Couldn't beat a replay of last year's Zurich. Couldn't get within 1/16 of a replay of last year's Zurich. Was a tough break for our friends at LIV. I was told this TV deal would be a big deal. You're gonna hate this. Like, I think they've redone at least like part of it since then. It did not look like a Muni anymore. It looked like kind of nice. And
actually, Bryson though, did you see that video of Bryson?
Oh, Bryson freaked out about the bunkers.
I kind of thought that was like AI.
I thought so. I thought that might be too.
Like,
was
that's
real?
bait. That felt like bait, man. And then I guess it wasn't though.
Oh, okay.
No, I think my senses were up of like somebody dubbed this because he would not.
Because it was outrageous. It's like, are you seriously freaking out about the sand? Like, just don't hit it in the bunker. They should be hazards. What are you talking about?
This isn't serious golf, buddy. They paid you like $200 million to do this. Just get the money and get out of the bunker.
Actually, a couple more LIV things. Money and Sport newsletter had some interesting intel on just some of the contractual tie-ins or clauses that are related to the PIF giving LIV more money. Pretty rudimentary business. Like, you got to reach a certain threshold of revenue. I think it was like 77 or 80 million this year.
80 million.
82 million.
They're on pace. I think they've given them 330 million through April for the year.
674 is actually 330 on January 16th and another 344 million on April 25th for a total of $674 million this year. The total funding for 2025 could reach $1 billion as soon as July or August, assuming a third capital injection by PIF of $330 million is required. Total authorized share capital of Live Golf in investments is now $4.58 billion, which is an increase of $1.9 billion since January 2024.
Yeah.
It's like
the first, like, all right,
it's the
so
first time
somebody's-
I've seen this.
no,
Like,
yeah, that's really good
numbers
intel.
down.
And somebody, well, then some of these contracts are going to come up. So what are you just going to, and like the big wrinkle in that though is nobody really knows how the player payments work. So it's like nobody really knows how much Jon Rahm got, and nobody knows how they, who got guaranteed money versus who's like, kind of getting paid based on performance. Like, I think it's all over the map. But how sick would it be like for us if somebody was like, yo man, I'll give you $100 and you guys like
just gotta make me $1.
If you guys can like get $10 back to me when you can, well, no interest, just that's success. Like that would be kind of, man, that's kind of
and then it was
the
what, like you got to
dream, right?
set up, I think they had to set up like 6 more tournaments or something like that. There were a couple other wrinkles in there, but yeah, I would encourage everybody to
It was a broadcasting, having a term
Yeah.
sheet with the approval of the executive committee for a U.S. broadcasting deal with Fox Inc. and its subsidiaries for 2025 and 2026.
Yeah, they
seasons,
wanted a
which, again,
multi-year deal.
I know way too much commentary gets directed at just like the worst people ever online, but like literally as one of the covenants of this is to say you need a US TV deal. So when we talk about TV ratings and why they are 0 and why that matters, like spelled out in this is exactly why. Like that's what they want is for people in the US to watch this on television.
Yeah, actually,
Boras
something
had
else
some
that stuck out to me
interesting
though, TC, was with 2 things from that newsletter. One, the estimate was that the rest of the world, so ROW revenue was about equal with the US revenue, which I just found kind of surprising. I mean, but then I started thinking about it. You could argue, it's probably, it's seems to get more attention. Like in Australia, I would have thought that at first would be higher, but it's like, the US is a bigger market. And 2, I mean, the London event, I think it was like 28 million in revenue, which to me, I was like, that was actually more than I thought you would generate. And I think that was off of tickets and merch and, all the sponsor stuff, which,
there's some ways you
I think
can launder that money though too.
I'm
Like
sure
if
there are, but I just thought that was
JCB says, "Hey,
that's
here's $15 million."
That's why I think that course owner had something probably to do with that as well.
Actually, I sat next to him for a little bit at Live Miami, the JCB guy. But yeah, the Money in Sport newsletter is great. Like they've had some great stuff on Carnoustie here over the last couple months. They've had like a look back at the Fox USGA deal. They do some Formula One stuff. They did something on like who owns Wentworth Golf Club, all sorts of stuff. So would highly recommend that. And then yeah, I think that's really it on the live front. Although Bryson did have he had a really shitty quote, a really bad question too about just somebody asked him about the Rory freeze out at Augusta. And Bryson, kind of didn't really take the high road. He was just like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. Like it's my duty to grow the game and talk to the fans and be nice to everybody kind of thing. It's just like
duty as a golfer and as an entertainer, TC.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess it was like a local news person that asked it in Korea. So I don't know if it was a language barrier thing or what. And I don't know. There's like 85 million other things Bryson does that aggravate me more than this one. This one didn't quite register for me, but it's within the bounds.
Porath had a good piece in Fried Egg this week too about just looking at Rahm and how this is going to be such an interesting summer for Rahm of like because I think he's signed longer than a lot of these other guys for live. So, if let's say things start disintegrating, but he's stuck over there and other guys are kind of free to play wherever they want, plus if he doesn't win another major or compete at least and have a high finish in one of these upcoming majors, it could get spicy. So
what the fuck is going to happen with this thing? Like who's going to play on this thing? I don't know. I really, as much as I've thought about it and we've talked about it, I don't know what happens with like Brooks and Bryson by the end of like next year, which is
I don't think guys were thrilled either about the Chapultepec to Korea commute, and then
can't imagine so.
Some of them back stateside for the PGA. Just some other stray news and notes. Soly, this is per Monday Q Info. I thought this was an interesting thing. This is on the PGA Tour Americas. I believe they were down in Peru. Hunter Wolcott got dinged for a pace of play penalty on Friday. He was the first one to get penalized under the new rules. If a group is on the clock and there's no first warning and any shot over 40 seconds gets penalized. He took 58 seconds on a putt and got a 1-shot penalty. Final round, he was 2 shots back playing the 71st hole. He made a birdie, his competitor made a double, and he won the tournament. So the first guy to get dinged for it won the tournament same week it happened and everything like that. But it doesn't seem that complicated to just enforce the rules, and
This is a different rule, right? This is
the new one that they're testing out on
testing
PGA
out,
Tour
right? This
America.
is different than
Correct.
what is the current policy on the PGA.
Correct. And this is what, this is what they should be doing at the lower levels. PGA America's, Korn Ferry Tour even, of, hey, test this stuff out just like they do stuff in the minor leagues with baseball, and then bring it to the PGA Tour. Like,
And for the record, I have no problem. Every other sport, you miss the shot clock, dude. It's a turnover. Like, that's part of the game.
Can I challenge this? Throw a challenge flag in this. So let's say Hunter Wolcott is playing with, let's say it's
Joseph Bramlett.
I'm thinking of a very slow player. All right.
And he's playing with Carlota Saganda.
Let's go with that. Carlota Saganda is the reason they get put on the clock. Hunter Wolcott standing over a putt that, playing for trying to make it onto the Korn Ferry Tour, trying to win this golf tournament, standing over putt. Carlota Saganda's caddy pulls a Gabby Golf Girl's dad and walks behind the hole. And he has to back off the putt. I would think
there would be some sort of judgment call there from whoever the referee is. It's like,
I hope there is, because I worry about some of the language of this being like against the spirit of the game, and somebody that's like not a slow player getting totally boned. Like watching you guys, I don't know, you guys probably get to see the end of Chevron where like Carlota got area put on the clock, and she's standing over a tee shot, and she starts to back off of it. I don't know if a fly landed on her ball or what, starts to back off, and then like gets right back in her stance and hits the shot. And it just is like trying to win a major. Somebody else has really fucked you to put you in this spot, and you are given no leeway to back off if there's a distraction or things that happen.
I guess, is there a way to just make it an individual timing of some kind? Like somebody in the
tour
group
has that data,
right?
Yeah.
Like, yo, it's just, there's got to be a better way than putting the whole group on the clock. It's like, yo, you specifically are the problem. You're taking too long. We got word that your group was slow, so we came and we are mystery shopping, and you're the one that's taking forever on all these fucking shots. Like, I think there's a solution here. Just find the slow player and tell them that they're playing slow.
Fix the glitch.
And fix the glitch.
I'm actually way more on giving officials like carte blanche to do like a real official, like a foul, calling a foul in a basketball game.
Really interesting coming from the guy who hates umpires.
Why balls and strikes are pretty darn easy to measure especially when there's one ball coming into the batter's box. This is a lot different.
What happens if you get an Eric Gregg, or what's the a Hunter Wendell stat, things of that nature?
All right. We're digressing. Let's move on.
But like the way the shot, like the pitch clock stuff works in baseball, like you do have a number of disengagements you're allowed, right? Like, if
that's what I mean. But just if we can come up with a black and white thing. But I think that we've started from the, I don't know, the foundation of like, it's always got to be the group that gets put on the clock. And I think that that's like a faulty foundation. I think you could just start
to communist.
Play. Yeah. It's like, yo, let's just find the slow player in the group. Like we all see it,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Let's see here. What else? Jim Dent, pretty cool PGA Tour career in Augusta native. He was caddy at Augusta National and then eventually played the PGA Tour. He in really 40 years out there between PGA Tour champions. He passed away at 85. So life well lived there. We've got an LPGA commish search update. Our friend Josh Carpenter at Sports Business Journal. It sounds like a 2-horse race, guys, between this candidate Craig Kessler he's the PGA of America COO. He's a Harvard MBA grad. He was the COO at Top Golf. I believe he used to work at McKinsey, worked with Niels Hitters at KKR for a while. Just a kind of a resume builder, it seems like. And then Alex Baldwin, the Korn Ferry Tour president, is the other kind of remaining candidate. But it sounds like Kessler has the inside track there. So we'll keep tabs on that one. PGA Tour CEO search. Soly, this one sounds like it might be a 2-horse race as well. 5 senior industry people. This is per Josh Carpenter and Adam Stern. 5 senior industry sources with knowledge of the search have identified NASCAR Commissioner Steve Phelps as a name that the tournament showed interest in. And then 2 people familiar with the matter also named TaylorMade President and CEO David Abellis as a possible candidate. And there was some more rearranging of chairs and roles and personnel at the global home this week. All sorts of kind of rolling up tournament business affairs and championship management, trimming some headcount over there. A plane landed at Riviera. This feels more like a trap draw story.
I did see that, and a great landing as well. I mean, like
Missed the green.
just the
too, like-
green kind of hit some humps and bumps and kept that thing firmly on the wheels. I mean, really impressive stuff from the pilot. Didn't hit anybody. Didn't do it. Didn't look like he did any damage. Crazy.
Crazy, yeah. Port Marnock Memories approved the course changes that'll kind of set the stage for at least the AIG Women's Open, if not eventually the British Open, the Open Championship.
That'd be the
presented
Open
by the King
Championship.
now. Yeah.
I don't think
Soly,
that would be presented by the King.
Yeah, exactly. That might be just presented by the EU, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Any chatter over there?
Did not hear any chatter.
And I guess
while
that's
we were,
that's in Dublin.
That's more
versus
Dublin thing. We
Belfast.
didn't spend much time in
Yeah.
Dublin, but I'm following this one very keenly. I look at this one as with one. This would be the first one ever played outside of the United Kingdom. First Open Championship, I believe, unless there's some way back in the day, but there has not been one. If there has been one in a long ass time, that's one. And two, like we've talked about this before on here. I've been to that place twice. It's incredible. It's awesome. Not once did I picture it hosting the Open Championship, just in terms of logistics. Like it is, there's all kinds of pictures in the clubhouse about how they used to get there via like horses. Like when the tide went out, like that was the only way to like cross the estuary, was when the tide went out to like go through the sand to get there. Like it's out
Like Grandcaster
on this crazy peninsula. I hope I'm thinking of the right place. It's on this crazy peninsula that just does not look set up for infrastructure, but the RNA has figured out how to do this. Like if they see the path to doing it here, I trust them on this. But if Lytham has gotten too small for them for their operation, I don't know how Port Marnock could possibly work. But
it sounds like they're going to build another causeway
okay
over there as well to kind of have 2 routes of ingress and egress, and then I think Mackenzie and Ebert are going to reroute 17 and 18 as well. But
so
I
they said
mean,
18 is going to become the first hole. They're going to change the second hole from a par 4 into a par 3. I think a couple of those changes, but footprint wise, AIG Women's Open would make a lot of sense for me, and that'd be must.
Dublin would just be wildly profitable with all the corporate, stuff there. So I mean, if they have one in Ireland, you can have one down in Australia at Royal Melbourne. All right.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
feel me?
And at Royal Montreal.
Royal Montreal, TPC Toronto, things of that nature. So, Neil, Rory teaming up with your hitters at TPG Capital.
For sure. I think this is just kind of making it public. It feels like they were already pretty involved in the, what is it, Symphony Ventures or?
Yeah.
I didn't realize he even invested in Golf Genius. I floated that in the thread. I was like, yeah, I'm, not the biggest. I don't want to throw any shade.
He got in on that like in 2020. Kind of pretty good timing there.
But listen, sounds like Rory's setting himself up for life after golf too. Listen, we got a lot of momentum, Soly. I'd like to stay focused. On the golf. Just maybe for the next 4 or 5 years, I'd like to focus on the golf.
I think we're fine.
Soly, it was cool to hear anecdotes from when he was down at Terra Edi and playing around there. And then I would say keep your eyes peeled for Rory playing an international schedule over the winter. Possibly a Dr. Munjal appearance over in this newly created Indian event, and then possibly a Kingston Heath appearance down in the southern hemisphere as well.
Interesting.
So Pinehurst number 4 closed for the summer. I guess they lost the greens. Feels like they're making the right call to, resod and just kind of start from scratch there. Let's see. Blocky is back, qualified for the PGA, which he didn't qualify last year, did he?
Was he not? I thought he earned his way back through
He earned
the
because he was
finish.
the top finish club pro.
Almost positive he played last year, didn't he?
Let's see.
I think he was there.
Oh, he was there. He missed the cut. So, Yeah, but yeah, he's, obviously the whatever the club pros are called, the Corebridge Financial Club Pro cabal. What else we got? Soly, this is big news coming out of Jacksonville Beach. An indoor golf spot opened up very close to where we live.
Allegedly
24 hours.
24/7.
Guys, you got to get in this game. I've been Gowanus Golf Club. I'll shout them out. The simulator, the key fob, 24/7 access. You
You have
schedule.
24/7.
Yeah, it's awesome. You can go anytime you want. No, you don't have to talk to anybody.
What's the weirdest time you've been?
The latest I went at 10 p.m. one time. I haven't been
That's not weird.
yeah, that's not that weird, right? But I could go at 3 a.m.
Insane.
It's great. And you, for me, I kind of have a flexible work schedule, so you can kind of hunt a day of maybe middle of the day. It's open at 1 p.m. You can go just book it, and you get X amount of hours a month. But I think that business model for simulators has a lot of potential. Low overhead. You don't have to pay anybody. Turn it into a little bit of a club so people take care of it. You can host a few events. It's a really good space. I think you guys, if you get involved, you'll like it a lot. It's very flexible.
I like the idea. I mean, the only time I can really actually get swings in is like 8 p.m. or later these days. It's like,
yeah, you can bring your own food, beverage. It's very, I think this is because it's sometimes, I like going to 5-iron, but then you're like, it's just someone's always waiting for the bay. You're like, oh God, it's just kind of crowd
trying
control
to be a
sometimes.
social thing.
Yeah, it's stuck. It's like, no, I just want to hit golf balls. I don't really want to talk to anybody. Truly, it's for a specific purpose. It's for practice. It's great.
Yep.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Soly, I want to give a shout out to the 2000 Majors pod you and KVV did. It's awesome. What was the most surprising thing that you uncovered or that you had forgotten about?
I think it was laying out of the timeline of Tiger changing golf balls after the Masters that year, and the testing that went into it, finding out about 2-piece balls from Marco Mira.
Right?
Like he tried it out in Germany. He had guys from Bridgestone come meet him in Germany, and he put it into play at Byron Nelson shortly after that. And and how that led to him just blowing the field away very, very, very quickly, and people catching up really by the end of the year in terms of the technology was just something that I'd never really made that full connection over, and just kind of reading all about that timeline and the news cycle of the whole thing, and how his relationship with Titleist was weird at the time because of the juggling commercial that he did for Nike. Titleist wasn't very happy about that because people thought he was playing a Nike ball then, and then he ends up playing the Nike. It was just it would have been a very interesting time to I look at all this stuff of man, what would have been like to podcast during all of this? That's what some of these deep dives look back on. That was my favorite. But KVV, what he found from I don't even want to spoil it if you haven't listened yet, from the Barbara Nicholas hobby incident from that summer.
Some of the AI images that people created.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it is based on those images.
It's well worth it. So please check that out. A lot went into that one.
Neil, speaking of images, Strapped.
Yes.
Released. I was talking to, our parents were in town this past weekend. My mom remarked, yeah, I liked it. It wasn't as good as the previous ones. Neil and Randy are getting older, and it's just not quite the same, is what she said. And
I think Peg, I think a lot of people are echoing that. And you know what? I would say to my mother and to people that have that feedback, I wish I could change that fact that I'm getting older. I really do. But we cannot put that toothpaste back in the tube. We're doing the best that we can, brother. But yes, it was, I don't know. It was worked really hard on the plan. I've been wanting to do this West Texas one for a long time. I know DJ and Randy haven't, and DJ Randy kind of called for the ball with the spring training one, season 11. And I was like, guys, I really think this, I looked up the schedule for the high school football, and I was like, I think this weekend would work. And then we got to work planning it. I think I've had 3 big takeaways. One, the biggest change is we released this one as one big episode, and whether that's a success or not is, TBD, but I think the answer is probably yes, as far as, helping DJ with the edit and making it something he wants to work on that doesn't, suck the juice out of the battery. I think it's easier to find one video versus 3 as far as promotion goes. And just, we've kind of talked about this as a team. It's hard to promote something for 3 weeks or 8 weeks, just really bang the drum, and the views and the engagement show that over the course of a season. So I feel like this will be a fun one to look back on. And if you want to watch it, It's free, man. You didn't rent it. Like, you can watch it in 3 episodes if you want. It's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You can watch
Yeah.
30 minutes at a time, and it don't cost you nothing.
For the record, I loved it. It was one of my
Oh,
it's in the
thank you, TC.
pantheon for me, probably top 2 or 3 episodes.
The average percentage of the video viewed, watch times, those are some metrics I look at on YouTube, up 60% week over week, which is fun. I mean, obviously the longer videos probably helping with that. You know what else I saw? It's crazy on the YouTube stats. Over half of our YouTube views are on TVs over the last year, which is, I kind of knew that was growing.
What about the app?
Yeah, I know, but mobile, but I thought it would be more neck and neck with mobile. I mean, TVs are really taking off with YouTube, and I love that, knowing that that's like, hey man, first screen in the like, more than half the people are watching on the big screen it gets me really jacked up. And I think, we brought some extra toys for this one. We brought some nice rigs, and we were really excited when we finished it. And I think DJ, shout out to him. He's the real magician on this stuff. I think it's the other thing I'd say is it's always a thrill to me when people spot the Easter eggs, because that's what gets us jacked up. Some, like, every season we're, 3 of us are like, we're spoofing something, or like, oh, this, and then without fail, we're like, nobody's going to get this, dude. And then sure enough, like, it's like, you start to read the comments, you're like, oh my God, people they can see it.
You treat
the
people
audience,
like adults. You treat
exactly.
people
And
like
I just
enthusiasts.
always get rewarded by that, of like, man, I'm glad people thought that was funny, because I thought it was hilarious. And there's a lot of people out there with, that are in on the joke, I guess, is fun. And then I think lastly, a lot of positive feedback. Obviously, if you don't like it, that's fine too. Don't cost you nothing. But I think the feedback
Send your things to Big Randy at
yeah.
nolandapp.com if you don't like it.
Send your feedback to Randy. The feedback that really feels good is when you see, like, locals comment on a video and say, like, I've never watched this. I'm from Lubbock or Midland or Peoria or wherever. And it's like, you guys did an awesome job, like, showcasing my town. I play there all the time. It was so cool to see that. And I don't know. I don't ever want local people to get this video sent to them and feel like we're trying to, like, clown on it or make fun of it, because that's not the goal. And we're trying to have fun and make jokes. But I think that really got through. And, we interviewed Brian Chavez, the captain of the 1988 Perennial Panthers, who's an absolute legend, and had a really, he invited us over to his place. We sat down with him for like an hour. And he texted me. He said, "Dude, my phone's blowing up, man. It's badass." Like, he was into it. So we're working on putting together like a full interview with him, and we're gonna do a Nest pod too, just kind of talking about the trip, taking some Nest member questions. So sign up for the Nest. Strapped is presented by Nest members, and you can do that at nolayingup.com/join. And we appreciate it.
You got strap posters out this week too. Get some free sweatbands.
Yeah,
Code
use the
SWEAT.
code, any purchase in the pro shop this week. Use code SWEAT, all caps, and you make sure you add the wristbands, the sweatbands, to your cart with code SWEAT, and those sweatbands will be free. And that will make a lot more sense if you watch Strapped and we're wearing wristbands. Which, listen, I could make the argument, much like I made for chocolate chip pancakes. I think sweatbands in golf, you wear them in a lot of other sports. In the summer, I don't know why guys don't wear sweatbands. Get hot and sweaty out there in a humid. You guys down in Florida, I mean, we could use them. I don't know.
We'll test it out. We'll test it out.
God,
guys,
I checked my my AirPods left them in my golf bag and checked it. Like, my whole plan was to watch Strapped on the plane ride. I was like, oh my God, I got all the time in the world to get to this. Didn't have my headphones. Still haven't watched it.
Well,
I feel like I'm missing out. I feel like it's gotten spoiled. I see all the memes and everything, and I feel like it's gotten spoiled
anywhere. And I just feel like with one video, it's like, yeah, you can. It's almost easier for people to save the one link than, oh man, did I? You got all these. We got episodes rolling everywhere. Yeah, and then some people just pissed that, like, we upped the budget to 800. That was last season, guys, and you guys approved that shit.
Highly inflationary
No. We did not approve anything. I absolved all responsibility of all this. It's not the same series anymore. You guys blew through the budget. You spent $2,000.
You should get on the refuge, Soly. You got a lot. You got some like-minded individuals.
I have no part in all of this. 60% inflation. All of a sudden, I have no part of any of this.
What I've learned, I guess, the general feedback is people hate change. And you could throw me getting older in that, like, some uncontrollable changes. Like, hey, this is just, we're working with what we got here. So,
which, there's some parallels between Midland and Odessa, and, some of the strategy changes that OPEC and the Saudis are doing that may affect LIV as well, as far as
for sure,
oil prices. I think low oil prices are here to stay for a while. So Neil, I loved the jeans with the golf shoes.
Oh my God,
That
our
was
guy
just
Richmond
all
Houston
time.
from Midland, all like honestly pulled it off, like sick look. And
Incredible.
we were saying that in the moment, like man, and also, dude, our guy had such a good swing, and he's like, my swing's all broke. I'm like, no, it's not. Like the guy gets through the ball better than anybody. I mean, he's a good player. You know, you can see it in the episode, but we literally ran into him sitting in rocking chairs at the Rolls, like randomly.
Shout out to the
To
commish
the commish and
and to
Doak,
Doak. Yeah.
and
And to Callum and Sandy Scott and
yeah, and that's what I love
Ludwig.
about Strap. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we set things up with Callum beforehand, but he was a joy to play with and a guy to watch, man. One of those ball flights where you're like, that's different. Like, I think homie might be around.
Proper player, Nairn.
Proper.
Shout out to Nairn.
Yeah, and but Richmond, Houston, we ended up playing with him, a couple days later, and that to me is like that's Strap. It's like, yeah, man, we just ran into this guy and he recognized us, and then he was our Sherpa a couple days later. Just loved it.
Hell
It was
yeah.
great. It was really, really fun season. So I'm glad that kind of is coming through on the video.
Neil, I'd like to address something that's not fun.
What's
It's
that?
not a pleasant thing to bring up. And I want to just set the scene. I want to set the table, Sally, because I think we can go into it on either the happy hour show this week or the Sunday live show. Seeing some really, really unfortunate stuff come through on X, the Everything app, and on Instagram, and the big letter hats.
I've got some stuff for you. If you're watching this on YouTube, we have some evidence
this
here,
is from Dornick.
Dornick has fallen. Nothing.
You
is
crushed me with this. A guy, I sent it through his Slack. Just so devastated, guys. Dornick has fallen. That's the best possible way to have phrased.
It's
what does Foxy stand for?
Foxy's the name
hole.
of the 14th hole.
Okay.
I think just a magical hole in its own right, but big letter hat with Foxy there. Clubs like Royal Dornick. A couple weeks ago, there was one I saw up from Oakmont. So, and actually, we're going up to investigate this week. Said the pews, which
We're
the
totally
little, yeah, there was an E in it. There's one in the St. Andrews Pro Shop right now that says hell and then bunker underneath it.
TC, I sent a call out for some nominations via Twitter, and I have a few. If you'll allow me to show a few.
Hopefully, we don't have one this week up at the Wissahickon course with no vowels. That would be a.
I was gonna say I don't know what they're gonna do with Quail Hollow. A lot of vowels in Quail. Are we just gonna go QL?
They've been putting the vowels back in them lately, Neil.
And I think that's bullshit. You know, if you're gonna do them, you can't. I don't know. If you're running a pro shop anywhere in the world right now, and you're fighting the good fight, and you don't have big letter hats, I think you should respond to this call for picks too.
It's a beautiful day, and our friends at Pinehurst are guilty. Pinehurst has fallen as well, but IAB dip. It's a beautiful day in Pinehurst. Can't have that one. These are some quick ones I just threw together very quickly. There is a Swilken one as well from
at least
the
it's
old
not
course.
Upside down.
It's not yet. That's always comes next.
Yeah,
the upside down version
of this.
Metaconk Golf Club just has ones that say conk on them. There's obviously Pitt and Redan.
Yeah, we went through that last year.
Yeah.
Some of the members and various people in and around North Berwick reached out in solidarity.
North Berwick has fallen. Yeah. This was good. Rost, ROSS apostrophe D, there at Pine Needles was one that was sent in. The Nut.
This is the Nut. Of course, I've got my Doak one that, just was given to me out at Common Ground. Horrifying stuff.
This is from Walnut Cove in Arden, North Carolina. The Nut. A lot of teeth. Pete Dye.
I have to get the Pete one for my son.
Casa de Campo. A lot
Diente.
going on there. Diente.
What do you guys? What would you liken this to? Is this like? It reminds me almost of like the Pog craze. Remember Pogs? Like when I was in like second grade. It's like Pogs. They took over for like 3 months, and then you never heard about Pogs ever again.
Libnat. You got to get this one if you're out there.
I'll explore the space over at Liberty National this week.
Lib.
Libnat. H-Town. It's rather
H-Town, of course, in a a tartan plaid.
If you got more, keep sending them. We can add this as a segment of like see just who else has fallen. across the country as it comes in because it gave me a good laugh.
I just don't think the big letters are going to age well.
No, it's fine if it's at resort courses. It doesn't, like, if you're a top 100 course, we're seeing it. Soly, I was at brunch this morning. Went over to the 19th at TPC Sawgrass. They have a
Great
wonderful brunch. My son Freddie, first communion this morning. We went over there. First thing I see is some dude in the clubhouse wearing a hat that just said "The Die." It's just
in the clubhouse. Can't have
in
that.
the clubhouse, man.
Take it off.
Just just a like neon green too. Just tasteless.
Peg might be right, TC. We are getting old. We're yelling at the clouds right now. Yelling at the
We
big
are getting
hats.
old, but we're also like witnessing just certain stuff still needs to matter. All right.
Yeah.
There's been, Gary Smits here in Jacksonville. He was like, "What's wrong with these hats? Are you gatekeeping?" Da 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 da. And I said, we gotta have standards, right? We gotta stand for something. And
well, I just don't think they look very good personally. No. But
I think they're dumb too.
And I'm not criticizing. If someone likes the hat, that's great. I want to say that. I don't like the way it looks, but I don't like the it's almost like the sheeple vibe. Oh, well, everyone's doing it.
Yes,
so that's where it just gets repeated over and over. It's like, like that just gets old.
Well, we got to do it. They did it there. Yeah. The nut.
Like
the
nut problem
is
they're probably doing it because they're selling them. People are buying them. That's the problem.
That's a problem.
I know.
Just just because you can doesn't mean you should, though, right?
That's exactly right. Let's move towards wrapping. If you missed this announcement in the last several weeks or months, we have joined forces with the Evans Scholars Foundation. We are working together with our community to establish a no laying up scholarship at Miami University that would be given out every 4 years and funded in perpetuity. This is actually, we're very, very stoked about this. Big thanks to everyone who has already donated. We launched it 2 weeks ago. We've raised approximately $48,000 on our way to the $500,000 that we need to fund the scholarship. So over the past 10 years that we've done this, a lot of people have asked us how they can get involved to help make the golf world a better place, help support us, or whatever you want to do. The No Laying Up Endowed Name Scholarship, this is exactly how you can do this. So if you feel compelled to join us in donating or helping in any way, you can go to nolayingup.com/ESF. To donate directly through our portal. If you have any questions about donating in other ways, like donor-advised funds, donor-advised funds,
portal, TC.
Send a note to Casey at nolayingup.com. She can help you out there as well. But we're off to a flying start with this scholarship, and we're very, very stoked about the thought of sending someone to college every 4 years in perpetuity through this golf community, and it's awesome to see the support that's already coming through the door.
Maybe we should do some hats, some big letter hats. Evans.
We've talked. I think what's really nice about this is it's kind of a center of gravity where, we always have these good, dumb, interesting ideas that just come in an ongoing fashion. And it's nice that it's like, oh, maybe we can direct it towards that. Like, we've talked about, we've never done cameo stuff. I never really wanted to do cameo stuff. I was talking about maybe we do a cameo. We send the money to the Evans Scholar Foundation.
100%.
Stuff like that, where it's like, we don't have to do that right this second, but maybe sometime this year, those ideas I feel like now have a home. And that's what gets me really excited about this. And based on my, conversation at the beginning of the pod, just more caddies. Caddies are sweet. And more good caddies, people that know how to caddy, learning how to caddy at a young age. I think that's just awesome for the game of golf too.
Well, and then caddying and then, going to college.
No, obviously, but I'm just saying
after it. And then,
to me, a win-win.
Meeting
the impact,
people and all that. Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, how about this? How about a chick hat for Chick Evans? Right?
We'll workshop it. Yeah. I would say if we do the big letters, we can't have vowels. We got to stand for something.
Got to draw the line somewhere. John Pond reached out. He was out at the Black Desert. He said people were running around all over out there with lava. They just said lava.
That's kind of sweet.
I'll buy a lava hat if we complete our goal. How about
magma? That? Someone needs to get or MGMA.
As TC mentioned earlier, the Seamsters pod dropped late last week. We were a little late recording it, trying to do it in person in Belfast. But if you want your monthly Major League Baseball update from myself, DJ, and Big Randy, and of course Patty, dropped some great takes. Rocky Stink. He was Spencer Torkelson just yeeting. He had some great takes in there. So
did he use the word yeeting?
He didn't. I don't believe.
Okay.
I think.
Good
But
stuff.
we also, as mentioned, the 2000 Majors pod dropped last week, and then I got in the hot seat for a spotlight episode as well. We've done 4 or 5 of these now at this point, so that those hit your No Laying Up podcast feed this past week, and then this week we're gonna have episode 1000. We got a special little arrangement ready for that one, and
Yeah,
we'll of
Mom,
course
we are getting old.
have a happy hour episode as well ahead of Truist. TC and I are going to go head out to check out Oakmont here at Media Day and the other part of this week, and see the pews and maybe buy a hat. So
you know what,
I think
guys,
we should play
I'm
a match.
fired up. I want to shout out. Last thing, I got my Roost. I signed up for the New York match play. I got my first round match on Thursday. And apparently my opponent he's a stick. So I'm playing at Marine Park. I'm fired up.
Hell yeah. Competitive golf.
I'm getting into it. I got some MGA events coming up, but golf season started for me. As TC knows, I gotta go practice my putting.
It was bad.
Yeah.
People are talking about it on Reddit, Neil. It's tough.
I know. They are for sure.
Yeah. TC, how about we play a match at Oakmont and loser's got to wear the pews hat. I think that's only fair.
Loser wears the pews hat, and then
I was like, Ben had to wear the first hat. The Pinehurst, it was just it was first.
And then Soly, I'm gonna try to source one of these Foxy hats too, because I know you love that
hit.
hole, and you love Foxy as well. Ryan Fox,
of course,
New Zealand. So
of course, that is going to do it for this week. As mentioned, several pods coming this week. We'll have a live show, of course, on Sunday night this coming week as well after Truist, and then right back into major championship season. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. Neil, TC, have a great evening. Crack on.
Cheers.